Hi everyone, it's Rick St. Dennis, and this is an answer to the question, what is a digital stamp? I've gotten a lot of questions via both the shops and Etsy and Zibbit and PMs on Facebook about what's a digital stamp, how big are they, what size can they be. So let me talk to you a little bit about it. I had never heard of digital stamps. I'd been in art for many, many years, but I had never heard of digital stamps until my friend Dee Moran said, draw, why don't you do digital stamps? That would be a great thing. And I said to her, what's a digital stamp? And she told me, and when I first heard about it, I thought it was probably the silliest idea I had ever heard in my entire life. I thought, who would want these things? And it turns out lots of people. A digital stamp is a digital image that is sent to you, usually by either an email or you can download it from online. And it can be a wide variety. I do a lot of sort of fashion ladies, and I do some spooky stuff and scenic designs, all sorts of things. Other people specialize in children, or they might do whimsical animals, or there's a lot of digital stamp companies, so you can get just about anything. And the nice thing about digital stamps is they're really easy to store because they don't exist. They exist on our end, but they don't exist on your end. Usually people store them right on their computer. Other people store them on little flash drives or on an extra hard drive. Depends on how many you own. But it's generally speaking, it's a black and white image. More and more, we're seeing digital stamps that have shading in them, and they've been digitally modified using various graphics programs. I personally do not use a Wacom tablet. A lot of artists do. A Wacom tablet is a method where instead of drawing what you do by hand with a pen, excuse me, you would draw it directly into the computer. So the pressure on the tablet makes the lines, and you can also use it for shading and that sort of stuff. I draw mine like I've been drawing for 40 years. I sketch it out and then ink it with a Pigma Micron pen, and then I scan it with an Epson scanner into my computer. Sometimes I use Photoshop to clean up the images a little bit. If you can see pencil lines, you erase, but you can miss pencil lines easily, and I still do. I still miss them. And then you put it on to make a file out of it, give it a name. They usually come with some sort of a copyright on them, telling you the year and that the rights are reserved. That you're going to probably take off when you use the stamp. So they're scanned, usually people scan between 300 and 600 DPI. DPI is dots per inch. That means when you print the image out, in order to make a line an inch long, you're going to have 300 little dots pressed together to make 1 inch of an image. Okay? So, and that's 300 by 300. It's both ways. So 1 inch is 300 times 300 pixels. That's what the points are, little pixels. Dots. Okay? A 300 DPI image will make a really nice, this is a 300 DPI image. This was printed on a very inexpensive HP inkjet printer. I used bootleg ink because I don't like to pay the prices that HP wants for its ink cartridges, so I buy mine through eBay. And the printer screams at me every time I use them, but they print just fine. And you want an ink, preferably, that doesn't smear or run around. You want a nice solid ink that when it dries, it's going to be easy to color over the top of it. And a 300 dpi image, you can get really fairly tiny with the 300 dpi. You can also blow this up. If you had a way to print it, you could blow it up to 36 inches. I'm sorry, I'm an American, so I don't know what that is in centimeters, millimeters, and all those kinds of things. But it's big. 36 inches is plenty big. A 600 dpi image, you can go even bigger. This is like overkill. You really don't need a 600 dpi image. There was a lot of discussion a while back about what was better to use for digital stamps, either a JPEG or a PNG file. Um, Frankly, most of us that are home crafters, I don't really notice the difference between the two. I don't see any difference working with the two different files, so I stick with the JPEGs now. I don't do PNGs anymore. I used to offer a choice, and I've just stopped. Um, I don't think you'll really care either. Uh, in order to use these, this is a question that came up. What size is a digital stamp, or what size is an image? Most artists that I know, this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Nina white Bristol vellum. Most artists are not going to do an image that's any bigger than this because of home printers. Most home printers will only print 8.5 by 11. And as you can see, you could actually stack a bunch of images on one sheet and print them. So a digital stamp usually is going to come out someplace between 3 by 5 and 6 by 8 inches. It could be smaller, it could be larger, but it's never going to be bigger than an 8.5 by 11 sheet. This is this image, and here's this image a little bit larger and colored. So you can do them bigger or smaller. It really doesn't matter. It's up to you. Most cards makers, people that make greeting cards using these stamps, want an image that's going to fit easily on the front of a card, and you want an envelope that's not custom. You want to make sure there's an envelope for your card. So it seems that 3 by 5 or 5 by 7, 4 by 6, those kinds of sizes, you can find envelopes for. Or you can make your own envelopes. Crafters, they can do anything these days. There's machines that'll cut envelopes out for you. So anyway, but they can be much bigger too. Your images can be huge. This is a clown montage that I did. Now, the bigger images have started to be more popular because some people don't do the coloring to make them into cards or tags or crafty things. Some people color because they like to color, they find it relaxing, and they actually frame these things and put them on their walls. There's no reason why not. I mean, if it's good art and you do a good job of coloring it, why not? It's better than a tacky print, and it's actually something that you did. I think it's kind of a cool idea to color them and put them on the wall. So anyway, a digital stamp can be any size, from maybe 1 inch square up to the size of a piece of 8.5 by 11 paper. It's going to come to you black and white, 300 dpi or bigger, usually. There's going to be different rules on how you can use those images depending on the artist that you buy them from, so make sure you read the rules. Most digi artists will let you use them for handmade projects that you're making. They don't want you to reproduce them and put them on t-shirts and those kind of things and then sell them at craft shows. I mean, you can sell your things at craft shows, but not mass produced. You don't want to color this, have somebody put it on a bunch of mugs for you and take those to the swap meet. That's not right. It's a craft thing. It's an art thing. So If you have any questions, ask the artist that you buy from what you can do with their digital stamps. Usually it's right on the page when you buy it. The stamps are either, as I said, downloadable or they're emailed to you. Now, we just had a big issue at the first of the year in Europe. The European Union added a VAT tax, value added tax, to the cost of any digital file, and that included digital stamps. So in order that you don't have to pay that VAT tax, many of us are using e-commerce sites, electronic commerce sites online, that we can email you the image. If we actually download it, attach it to an email, and send it to you, the VAT tax doesn't count. If you download it directly from the seller on the e-commerce site to your computer, then you do pay the VAT tax, and it's different for every country, so I can't tell you how much it is, but why pay 1 cent extra? It's silly. You're paying just for the purpose of downloading a file that you already paid for. So better to wait, the couple of hours, up to 24 hours, to get the image from the artist and not pay that extra tax. What can you do with the images when you own them? Well, you can print them singly. You can print a whole sheet of them, multiples. You can flip the image if you have the right editing equipment. You can enlarge it. You can reduce it. You can repeat it. You can make a border with it. It's amazing what you can actually do. And like I said, when I first heard about this, I thought this was the silliest idea I had ever heard, and it turns out it's not silly at all. It makes a lot of sense. And it's not like having a regular rubber stamp. I do rubber stamps also via a number of companies, but with rubber stamps, you have to store them, and they're bulky. They have weight. Digital stamps take up a few KB, or up to a couple of MB or so, megabyte of storage. So if you put them on a 16 gigabyte flash drive, you can get a lot of digital stamps. So they're easy to store. You can flip them. You can't do that with a rubber stamp. Rubber stamp, the image is always going to be the same. You can't flip it over or flip it top to bottom. You can size them from small to large, same thing. If you buy a rubber stamp and it's 2 inches square, it's always going to be 2 inches square. There's no way you can make it 4 inches square. Not true with these. These you can make any size you want to, as long as it fits on a piece of paper that you can print. You can repeat them, make borders with them. What some people are doing now, which I think is kind of bizarre, but they're doing it, you can make the black lines any color you want. So if you wanted the lines to, for some unknown reason, to be red, you can do that. But you need a photo editing program. Okay, there's a lot of them. A lot of people use the unfortunately named GIMP. It's free online. You can download it. I don't know anything about it other than it's a pain in the neck. It's kind of hard to use. I'm not interested. I want something that's as easy to use as possible. Some people can size their images in Word. Microsoft Word's not actually Windows, it's Microsoft Word. I don't know how to do that either. It's too much like work for me. I use Big Photoshop, but what a lot of people use is Adobe Photoshop Elements. Okay, Elements. I saw this online the other day, just the Elements by itself for $39.95 on sale. You can get Photoshop Elements with another program, which I don't see why you would need it, for about $59. I think that they're at Elements 13, so sometimes you can go back and get older versions for less money, but I don't know. I think I would stick with something that was relatively new. And, software is a good investment. If you're going to do a lot of this, you might as well invest the 40 or 50 bucks and get yourself a program that is going to do the work. And then again, other people are very tight budgets. This is something that a lot of retired people do, and single moms and so forth. Just go online and talk to your friends, because they'll tell you about GIMP and all these other ways. We have, I have a lot of blogs, but one of them is rickstdennis.blogspot.com, and I think on that one there is a lot of information about how to size stamps and that sort of thing that I've gotten from my designs team. So rickstdennis.blogspot.com. We also have a how-to site, but if you go to this blog, you can get to all of my other websites. And another great place is Facebook. I know people are afraid of Facebook, but the way to deal with Facebook is to get in it and don't tell anybody you're on it. Just make Facebook a thing that you use for information. Don't accept friend requests from anybody you don't know, and just kind of keep it personal, but use it to talk to people online and find information out that you need. We do have a friends and fans site on that. It's Rick St. Dennis Digital Friends and Fans, I think. But if you just find me, you'll find my other sites. So go here first, rickstdennis.blogspot.com. That gives you a lot of information. Now, coloring. These are colored with pencils, colored pencils. That's what I was sitting here doodling with. You can also, this is colored pencil. All of this is because I like colored pencils. Easy. You can also, this is the thing that does miracle work. You can use alcohol markers. These are pro markers. These are by far not the favorite marker of choice. Most people want to use Copics. To me, the Copics are too expensive, but that's up to you. I mean, these markers can be $2, $3, $4 a piece. So if there's 150 colors in the set, you do the math. It's a lot of money. Anyway, I don't have enough here to really show you how these work, but you put your colors down, and they're really spiffy. How wonderful the colors are. They're bright and shiny, and you can use either a blender or you can use a lighter color to blend your colors out. And the markers have two ends on them. They have a fine point and they have a wider point. So this is the broad point. And you can, of course, use this on the broad or the chisel. Then there's a fine point on the other end. And as I said, many, 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 many colors. You can also put down color first with your markers. You want to let these dry, and they do darken the paper when you color with them. And then you can go back with your colored pencils and do your shading using pencils or chalks or whatever you want to do. A lot of people doing a lot of different things. Huge range of subjects, as I said, anywhere from children to scenics to hobbies, fashion, fantasy. It's just almost limitless, and the number of digital artists around is amazing. As I told you, I do a lot of fashion, theater, showgirl sort of things. So my designs are a little bit different from what's normally online, but everything catches up with everything. So you'll find a lot of things to work with. And you can get, this is relatively simple for the kinds of things that I do. Here's one that's very complicated. This is a digital stamp. This could be smaller, it could be larger. You would probably print something this complicated by itself, and then you would use that for almost the entire front of the card. And they do amazing stuff. I mean, go on Pinterest and look at what these people do. And many artists now combine digital stamps with actual rubber images. There's just so much creativity out there. People are so amazingly talented, and you can really do some incredible things if you're willing to do a little bit of experimenting. So, what size is a digital stamp? Any size you want it to be. Depends on what you can print. How much do they cost? Well, I've seen digital stamps for as little as 50 cents. And remember, for 50 cents, you're not getting anything but a download. That's a lot. Remember, I'm a digital stamp artist, so I know the amount of time that I put into drawing my pictures. That has to all be amortized. People have e-commerce sites. You have to pay fees. Most of us take Facebook. You have to pay fees for that. So what you charge for your digital stamp is relative. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's not worth it. I'm not paying $3 or $4. And yes, I have digital stamps for over $5. They're full page, very complicated, like that clown image that I showed you. This one, I believe, is $3.75 or $4. It's called Rosalinda, but that's a very complicated image. And this one that I showed you, this is called Il Segreto. I think it's also $3.75 or $4. It seems like $3.75 or $4 is kind of the norm. There's a lot, like I said, for $1, $2. You try to have things in all the price ranges so that there's something for everybody. But the wonderful thing, again, is you can print this, and you can print it for your best friend who loves purple, and you can put her in a purple dress and use lavender and pink and all kinds of wonderful colors. And then, the week after that, you can give it to somebody who likes yellow or who likes green, and you can print it again and do it in a different color, and you add all your wonderful embellishments and rhinestones and glitter and on and on and on. And these are just, endless, the number of wonderful things that you can do with digital stamping. And most of all, it's not going to take up an entire drawer in a chest of drawers, or boxes and boxes of Rubbermaid storage in your closet. All it takes is a little bit of digital storage online to have a huge repertoire of digital stamps. If you also watch, if you really get into this as a hobby, if you watch online, there's a couple of places that they specialize in telling you where you can get free downloads. There are free downloads, especially those of you that do things like teach Sunday school. You can find a lot of religious downloads, Noah's Ark and Bible stories and that sort of thing. A lot of stamp companies will have free downloads on their sites. A lot of companies that sponsor online competitions will have freebies that they give away. That's what they're called, freebies. And those are for your use. Those are not to download and then share with everybody you know. If you use it and somebody likes it, you tell them where they can get it, but you don't send them your copy. That's not right. There's a lot of theft that goes along in this company, in this digital stamp business, and many of us are uniting to stop it. You have to have some scruples, and one of them is that if somebody gives you something free, that doesn't mean it's for you to pass it on and on and on and on and on. So you tell them where they can get it. You tell them how that they can look for free images, but don't share yours. Keep yours on your computer and let them find their own. Um, if you have any other questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them. I certainly am not the spokesperson for the digital stamp industry. All I'm doing is answering questions so that I have a place to send people and you have some answers. My email is rickstdennis@yahoo.com. Okay, rickstdennis@yahoo.com. That's the best place if you have a question or a comment. Don't leave questions down below this video because I don't check it often enough. rickstdennis@yahoo.com. I will try my best to answer you back directly on email. If I get a lot of one question, then I'll make another video and answer it online here, but I still will get back to you with some kind of an answer for your question. Inexpensive, fun, versatile. It's not another craft supply that you're going to stock, up in your house and have no more place to move. It's all virtual. It's on your computer. You can print it, but the storage is wonderful. The versatility is wonderful because of the flipping and sizing. Your program, like Adobe Photoshop Elements, is an investment. You can use that a lot in your crafts, sizing pictures and sizing, even decoupage sheets. You can size those in your photo editing program. You can also do fun things with your personal photos and scrapbooking and things. Everybody should have a photo editing program. They used to be one on Windows that was a wonderful program, and they've discontinued it. So now we have to look harder. And as I said, I know there's free ones out there, but I don't have time to sit and learn a new program for 2 or 3 hours, a day. So I want something that's easy, and I know Photoshop, and I know Photoshop Elements, so that's why I use that program. And if I don't know how to do something, I have to ask one of my ladies that works on my design team. They all know how to do everything. Okay, so that's it. What's a digital stamp? It's a drawing that has been changed into a digital file that you can use very similarly to an actual rubber stamp in your craft projects. What sizes and any size you want to be? How much does it cost? 50 cents up. You download them or you get them sent to you via email. Etsy is a good place to look. Zibbit is a good place to look. My Zibbit shop, I have over 1,100 images now. And I believe that on Zibbit you looked for me under Rick 1949. But it's Zibbit. Okay, Zibbit. And most everybody takes PayPal. If you're paranoid and you don't want to use PayPal, Etsy is the better place because Etsy has direct payment. You can use your credit card right on the site. It's a secure site. Nobody ever sees it but you and Etsy. PayPal I find very safe because PayPal you can also transfer American dollars into euros and all kinds of other things. I've never had any trouble with PayPal. They've always been really good. Your purchases are guaranteed. So I personally like PayPal. I don't know why people don't. But there's also Google Wallet and another one that Etsy has started taking. They take more than just PayPal or direct pay. So, one place or the other. I have everything on Zibbit. I only have some things on Etsy. So this is where I would go if I were you, if you want to look for a variety of things. Also, a lot of companies have their own e-commerce sites, so you just have to look up digital stamps for crafts. I also mentioned that I do rubber stamps, and I don't actually do them. They're done by Della and her husband, who owns I Break for Stamps, not stumps, stamps. Um, Great company. They do wonderful stamps. They're deeply cut, really good, nice, clean leather, no bubble or rubber, no bubbles in them or any of that kind of stuff. Their images print off nice and crisp. So I break for stamps, and she has thousands of images by many, 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 many artists, and they're here in California, so they're nice. I like Made in the USA, Made in the USA. Um, I work with people all over the world. My design team is in the Netherlands, Scotland, the UK, all across the United States. There are stampers, many, many, many stampers in Russia, the Ukraine, Scandinavia. We have a lot of people from Sweden and Norway. So uh, get involved. It's a friendly group of people. Lots of folks, both men and women across the country and the world, are doing digital stamping and paper crafts. That's it. I think you got it. So anything I missed, I'll make up later. Email me. Remember all this stuff back here? rickstdennis@yahoo.com. That's the most important one. That's where you can find me. Send me questions, send me comments. If you like the video down below, subscribe, please, and thumbs up. That's very important. Okay, that's it. Rick 1949 on Etsy. See ya.